Forward, march, left, right. Yesterday, I talked about education and how important it was for you as a military service member and a veteran that has gone out of the service, and how important it is for you. And the reason I say that, let me give you guys a little bit of back history here. The reason I say that is because it wasn't until I was in the Marine Corps for about almost 17 years that eventually somebody told me, like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity for you to go ahead and start going to school. And this was back in my last duty station when I was stationed at the Marine Corps Detachment in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, that I went ahead and started going to school. Now, the whole purpose of me starting to go to school was to get a degree in Homeland Security and Emergency Management, which was something that I figured that would set me up for success now that I was getting out of the service, and that I wanted to go work for the Border Patrol once I got out of the service, because my intentions were to move out here to Arizona and to go ahead and get a job working with them. Well, that did not work out because, they had their requirements, stuff and everything else. And it's difficult in some cases to be able to get the opportunity to work with Homeland Security. And, that you have an interview process, you have a written test, you have a physical fitness test, all those things which I aced, was ready to go, went to my interview, aced the interview. They told me that they were looking forward to me heading over there and heading to the academy in a couple months once I got out of service. Once I retired in 2015, the final step of the whole entire process was to get the polygraph done, and it came back inconclusive 2 times. So therefore, they withdrew my application from them, and they told me later on that, hey, there was issues with the way the polygraph was being conducted if I wanted to go ahead and reapply. And by that time, I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm good. I'll figure out and I'll do something else. So I ended up finishing almost that degree for Homeland Security and Emergency Management. And then I went ahead and changed my whole entire major of what I wanted to do. And I was using my education benefits for all this. Okay, so when I was on active duty, I was using tuition assistance to help me to top off what I was using for my GI Bill, my Montgomery GI Bill, because I had that because I came in back in 1995. And since I was in during the time when the post 9/11 education benefit came into play, I also qualified for that one as well. But it's not till, I got out of the service that I had to decide, hey, which benefit do I want to use? Now, because I came into the service in 95, I could use both of them, but I would have to completely exhaust my Montgomery GI Bill first. So all those 36 months, and then I would have 12 additional months of education benefits under the post 9/11 education benefit. So I took advantage of all those things. So once I got out, I'm retired now, and then I got a job working for the VA, learning more about all the different benefits that you have as a veteran and how to use these benefits now that you're getting out of the service. Well, I took advantage of my education benefits. I decided that, hey, I want to get a job in something that maybe that I enjoy doing or something that I'm going to like doing. And since I was young, a young kid, and even when I was in active duty in the Marine Corps, I like using cameras and I like making videos and all that stuff. So I started doing some research. And it just like I mentioned in the video yesterday when I started talking about how to do your research and making sure that you go to a school that's going to be military friendly, that's exactly what I did. So I started doing a lot of research and everything, and I ended up finding the Academy of Art University out there in San Francisco, California. And I started talking to the counselor. I told him kind of the things that I wanted to do. And my goal was basically just to learn a little bit more about photography, learn how to take better pictures and get a certificate and all that stuff. And then when I started talking to them, they're like, hey, we actually have degrees that you can get an associate's and bachelor's degree in photography, not just a photography certificate. And they were a military friendly school. They participated in the Yellow Ribbon. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. So I went ahead and enrolled in the associate's program, went ahead and finished that up in 2 years. And then I still had education benefits left over. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get my bachelor's degree. And I got my bachelor's degree in photography and lighting. And I was able to get that, graduate for the Academy of Art University. And then I was like, okay, so, what do I do with the rest of my months that I have left over from this benefit? Now, I had a couple months left, not enough to get me into the master's program, but then I wasn't working anymore. So I say, you know what, let me try the Vocational and Rehabilitation and Employment Program, which was what it was called, back then. And this is a program that's available to veterans that are disabled. And this program is an employment program. It's not an education benefit, but because I am 100% permanent total disabled by the VA, I qualify for this benefit. And what I did was, my goal and my whole, mentality was that I was going to open up my own business in photography. And I went and applied for the VRNE program. They accepted me to the program, and they went ahead and they paid for the rest of my degree to be able to graduate with that bachelor's degree. They also bought me the equipment that I needed and all the syllabus that I needed for me to complete that degree. So, they bought me my cameras, my lights, everything that I use, everything that you see here that I'm using right now, the VA bought for me under this program because I was eligible because of the disabilities and basically because I applied. And that's the main thing. That's the main goal that I tell everybody. Hey, apply for your benefit. You're not going to know if you qualify if you don't apply. If you automatically assume that you say, hey, you know what? They're not going to approve me, so why even bother applying for these things? You never know. I didn't think I was actually going to get qualified for the program. I mean, yes, I qualified for the program, but was I going to get approved to actually go to school using this program? And because I did so, they paid me all my equipment, everything that I needed to get my degree in photography. So my cameras, my lighting equipment, my printer, all the paper, all the ink, everything that I needed for all those specific classes that I needed to do. And then when I was going to finish up my bachelor's degree, they offered classes in podcasting. They offered classes in drone photography. So I enrolled in all of those as well. And yes, the VA bought me a drone. They bought me a drone to go ahead and ensure that I was able to do that class and pass that class. They bought me all my podcasting equipment, all the podcasting equipment that you guys see me use on the videos that I have. I got all those from the VA to help me to get my business started. And, so that's what I use that program for. And it's something that I now have that I can use to my advantage. So I used the whole VRNE program. I used that program to go ahead and finish and graduate from my bachelor's degree. Now, I still had an additional 10 months left over from my Montgomery GI Bill that I hadn't used yet. And I was eligible to use those because I already exhausted all the other benefit that I had. So I used those months that I had left over to go ahead and apply for my master's degree at the Academy of Art University. And I did some research on whether I wanted to continue to get my master's degree in photography, or were there any other programs that were available through the Academy of Art for me to get that degree. And I did some research, and I already knew how to take all the pictures, how to do the lighting. I was learning a lot more to get those professional pictures and everything that I needed to do for people that they wanted me to take pictures of. So I was able to do that. So I'm like, okay, well, what's the other thing that I can use with the photography? And that's when I came up with the program over there to use media technology. And they had a program for technology and media programs that I had at the Academy of Art University. So that's what I enrolled in to get my master's degree. And there I learned how to, be myself on camera, how to make sure that I knew how to use proper sound when I was in camera, how to make sure that I, maintain the contact with you while I'm doing my podcasting, my videos, on my YouTube channels, all those different things to ensure that I keep my audience engaged with me, to make sure that I am able to get, my point across, my story across. So they taught me a lot on how to be not only a content creator, but how to set up the lighting for me to be able to do that. As you guys can see, I have my lighting. I have my little blue lighting back here in the back. And what I'm actually using 4 lights right now. I got a ring light in front of me that's very minimal. I have a light to this side of me with a softbox that I got very dim. And on this side, I have another light that I have a screen on the light itself to just get me the light directly onto my face. And then up here, you guys can't see it, but up here I have a light that's shining on the back of my head that gives me this little ring light thing. So I learned all of that in all my classes and everything. And just like I talked about yesterday, you're gonna learn a lot of stuff. And there's so many programs that are out there, whether it's learning how to drive a semi-truck, the police academy, all those programs, welding, that are out there that you can apply for, that the VA can help you to pay for all these programs. And I always tell people, you just got to take advantage of it. Take advantage of all these things, all those things and all those steps that I talked about yesterday. Use them to your advantage and use them for you. And just like I also mentioned, those of you that have the post 9/11 education benefits, and if you transfer them over to your dependents, to your children, to your wife, they can use those. And I always tell everybody, hey, if you're going to go ahead and transfer the benefits over to them, keep at least 1 month for yourself. And the reason I say that is because once you're out of the military, if, let's say, for example, one of your kids doesn't want to go to school, or they're not going to use those benefits or those months that you gave them to them, with you having that 1 month for yourself, it allows you to be able to go out there and move those months around to whoever you want to give them to. Whether you want to take them back and use them for yourself, or you want to give them to another child because they need those months for them to pay for their school. So it's available for that, to make sure you take advantage of it and use it for you. So, take it from me. The same things that I did, use them. They're going to be beneficial for you. And, you're going to be able to use all these things not only for yourself, but to get yourself that higher paying job. Because as we know now that you're getting out of the military, and like I told all the Marines when I taught the separations class for 7 years, I used to tell them all the time, like, hey, these benefits here for you. You earned it. You spent your time on active duty in the military. Take advantage of this benefit to make sure that you are able to get that high paying job that you deserve, because now that you're getting out of the military. So, hey, take advantage of it. Take it from me. If a crusty old gunny can get a master's degree, you are more than capable of doing the same thing and getting that degree and getting that high paying job. So, take advantage of it. And especially now, especially with the post 9/11 education benefit, that benefit doesn't expire. You can use it whenever you want to use it now. With all the military service members that are getting out now, it doesn't expire. So you don't have to go to school right away, but use it. Don't just let it go and not use it, because there's so many veterans that I know that got out of the military, never used their benefits. And back then they used to expire. You only had a certain amount of time for you to be able to use these benefits once you got out of the military, and they never used them. So now they're just gone.